This presentation was my final presentation for a graduate course on teaching strategies for emerging distance learning at Northeastern University. The takeaway messages, in my opinion, are useful for those teaching online courses here at Great Bay, so I've captured the presentation with Camtasia for sharing here at Great Bay. This course was aimed at investigating strategies and best practices for distance education, starting from examining good teaching and planning practices, and then discovering how these can be translated into the online world. We were asked to come up with our 5 best takeaway messages, and I will discuss each of these in turn, but here are my 5 best in summary. Contemplation and the discussion boards, the obvious but often overlooked power of the online discussion. Personality and moderation, that's personality and, not in moderation, keeping an instructor's presence and flavor in the online portion of a class. Using video in a media-rich course, and the different preferences of digital natives and digital immigrants. Weaving together a hybrid course, the importance of making connections between the classroom and online portions, and finally, assessment in distance education, becoming more student-centered. So let's start with each one in turn. The contemplative discussion board. Some of the great advantages of discussion boards include a time to reflect on discussion before answering, anonymity, and permanence. Especially when used in a small group discussion board, a discussion pod of 3 or 4 students tasked with discussing a particular topic, the notion of time to contemplate and reflect on an answer is a great advantage to using a discussion board. Unlike the classroom experience, where one often has to come to a conclusion because there's 3 more minutes and the groups are going to share back, has taken place. In the online realm, the student has a chance to reflect, look back upon their readings, other discussions, and form a well-thought-out argument or discussion piece. Being anonymous on a discussion board enables more students to participate compared to a classroom discussion. Big personalities and dynamic voices aren't present. Every student has a role of participation, and even the shyest of students can step up and present their part of a discussion in the online world. The third advantage to discussion boards is permanence. They endure. Unlike the spoken word, which is gone and left only to the learner's recollection or impression, the online discussion is there for reflection and review. Obvious advantages, yes, but sometimes, at least for me, it helps to state the obvious and to remember these benefits. I was particularly taken with the time to reflect, the ability to go back, look, and make a nice, clear argument. My next takeaway, presence. For an instructor, it's possible in the transition from ground classes to online classes to maintain a presence and a personality. It's important to check into the discussion boards on a regular basis, to direct the conversation and maintain the idea in the student's mind that they aren't out here alone. Their guide is available, their professor is around. Scaffolding, as discussed by Ruth Reynard in Hybrid Learning, Maximizing Student Engagement, in an issue of Campus Technology, consists of the instructor creating supports. Her model is instruction by modeling, then providing support for the learning. These are like scaffolds to maintain student interaction. And the role of an instructor changes very much with discussion boards. They become more of a facilitator and a coach when monitoring, providing direction and focus to help students see the relevance, as well as providing questioning and connecting to help students develop a perspective on a given topic. Discussion boards work best when structured to tie to the readings, listenings, and other resources provided in the class. When starting out with online courses, I had a lot of difficulty getting past the introducing each other discussion board and trying to get real conversations taking place on topic. Putting a structure in place to encourage participation, possibly grading and assessment, and then following through regularly as a facilitator, much learning can take place that's student-directed, and instructor facilitated rather than just creating an online version of the sage on the stage. So it's really facilitation and coaching were the really key messages for me. My third point is video, and using it with digital natives and digital immigrants. In a 2007 EDUCAUSE presentation by Diane Zorn, she mentions that digital natives, those who've grown up in the digital world, are more comfortable with the YouTube type of video, rough cut and unedited. They live in a Twitch speed world. They want the content at the speed of an electron. But those who are new to the digital world, the digital immigrants, prefer a more polished and presented video, edited and smooth. As more and more of our student base is digitally native, YouTube supplies a rich source of interesting tidbits to add to a media-rich online experience. The immigrants rapidly become converts to the digital way. I enjoyed hearing Zorn's perspective on YouTube, as I've used YouTube video clips in my online medical terminology. For example, Potsy from Happy Days doing the Pumps Your Heart song. It's a catchy way to remember the blood flow through the heart. It's validated. Her presentation validated their use in my online classes. But when I tried to show the YouTube in my ground-based class, I was unsuccessful connecting to YouTube. But as luck would have it, one of my digital natives pulled up the video on her BlackBerry and passed it around so class members could get a quick view. My fourth takeaway, weaving the hybrid course. One of the problems investigated in this class was the conversion of a course from ground-based to hybrid, 1 week in class, 1 week online. After much discussion, the discovery was made the instructor needs to build bridges to achieve a cohesive hybrid course. Much as an instructor builds scaffoldings in a well-conducted discussion board, the results of those discussion boards need to be woven into a ground-based portion of a hybrid class. It's imperative the instructor makes the connections for the student in between the online and ground portion. A hybrid course should be a cohesive experience, not just lecture in class, discuss online, come to class 2 weeks later for the next topic, but utilizing the face-to-face dynamics in ground time and the reflective nature of the discussion board sharing. A good facilitator can build a dynamic learning environment both on and offline. And the instructor, coach, facilitator needs to be a commentator as well, pointing out the key points, helping students develop their perspective on the material. A good commentator will point out these key points and help guide the learning to incorporate them. And assessment. Assessment is always troublesome in distance education. Instructors know the students are sitting there with their book, regurgitating answers into online quizzes. Is this really a measure of what's been learned? Quizzes are better positioned as learning tools. A quick assessment with nearly instant feedback so that the student can tell if they're grasping the material. Auto-assessment tools, such as the ones provided through both Blackboard and SoftChalk, are excellent choices for using a quiz as a learning tool. SoftChalk permits creating drag-and-drop problems, flashcards, and the ability to label images. Additionally, Blackboard's hotspots, matchings, and multiple choice formats are excellent for creating auto-assessments. Assessment in digital education can be so much more than a quiz. There's the opportunity to do peer review of projects, allowing anonymous content from others in the class to comment on a particular project. Peer reviews can also be done on the process as well as the product of the learning, reviewing participation in discussion boards as well as the ultimate outcome. And online e-portfolios. What an excellent way to conduct online assessment, allowing a student to present work that illustrates their mastery of the course objectives. The additional feature of e-portfolios is the work can be placed on a portfolio site where it can be available for viewing by prospective employers. And as an employer, I would love to be able to see if the student truly can do something in Word or Excel if I was looking for somebody to work with computers. Great assessments. So my conclusions. My own personal takeaway messages are as follows. I'm going to structure my discussion boards better with questions that will lead to discussion and interaction, not just, yep, me too, I agree. I'm going to create better, smaller discussion pods of 3 or 4 students to work on a topic. You keep them open to the rest of the class for reading so that they can see how the other groups are approaching a problem. I now understand the role of facilitation much better and coaching to keep a topic going in a discussion board so I can be a better facilitator going forward. I'm going to keep adding video and more video to my online courses and stop worrying so much that I don't have network broadcast quality videos. The content's sound, the message is quick, the students will gain from them. And I'm going to work out ways for more authentic assessments in my courses, especially medical terminology, more work with real medical reports and the terms included within. And finally, I would personally like to try a hybrid course. I would like to work out in the real world the notion of weaving the ground and online pieces into a cohesive whole. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I've included the references to articles and online materials for your use on the next slide. Thanks.